Before we get into the video, shout out to our sponsors Subside Clothing Brand. Subside is a new, up-and-coming clothing brand established in Bristol that is looking to add something different with their clean designs that celebrate their roots. You can find the link to all their social medias in the description of this video. From the Terrace Podcast and Subside Clothing Brand, it's a match made in heaven. Support the boys, support the grind, shop Subside. Hello and welcome back to the From the Terrace podcast and another edition of your favourite show, Champ Talk. We had some midweek games this week, two double whammy week. Everyone loves them, apart from us. But no, joking, we love talking championship. Apart from Regan, we love talking championship, apart from when we have to talk about certain sides. And I feel like one of those sides we don't like talking about, but it feels like they have to get a mention this week, is Cardiff City. Yeah, let's get straight into the midweek games. Cardiff beat Huddersfield by 3-0. Kiefer Moore getting a brace. Glatzel also scoring. Now, Cardiff had a pretty stinky start to the season, is what you could call it. But they've picked up a few quite thumping wins recently. Are they contenders for the top six, Regan? Or is this a team that's going to be full of inconsistencies this season?
Well, first of all, it's a great segue again to start off the show. So well done for that.
Do. But I tell you what, I'd never ride a normal segue.
Love that. But to answer your question, I think they're a bit too inconsistent at the moment because I feel like going into the last couple of games, there was a lot of pressure around Neil Harris about his job, etc. And I feel like the games, the Huddersfield game and the game before that against Luton, I feel like that's just him more fighting for his job than Cardiff being like, yeah, okay, we're going to, this is a team that can challenge for the top six. Don't get me wrong, they can, because we saw it last season. It's practically the same team that got them in there. But, I mean, it's a good result, and maybe they're in a bit of a purple patch, but the results that they put in before the past two game weeks doesn't really show to me as the top six side.
Yeah, and I mean, on Moore and Glatzel, do you think? I mean, a lot's been said about in the media about Kiefer Moore, and there's a lot of praise that goes around for him. He starts for Wales. We know his ability in the air and everything, and he's got 2 goals on Tuesday. But is he really? I know that's maybe not what Cardiff always rely on. They're a team that rely on being good at the back. But do you think Kiefer Moore's really a striker that is a 15 to 20 goal season striker in the Championship? Can he score the goals to get a team promoted?
I feel like individually, no. But with the players he's got around him, because I think Shea Ojo and Harry Wilson around him, they're very two creative wingers and midfielders. So I feel like they're very good at crossing the ball, putting it in the box. And if you want any striker in the league, in my opinion, to be in the middle of the box if you're whipping balls in, I can't think of many people better than Kiefer Moore. So I feel like if you have that creativity around him, I don't see why he can't get to that number.
No, I agree. I think the thing is with Kiefer Moore, I'm one of his critics, but I think it's because I'm not someone who likes to give praise to a footballer easily. I don't like, and I'm not like completely harsh footballers. I just think that it's just, I mean, getting 8 goals a season if you're a striker or something along those lines, you'll get praise on Sky Sports by the Punch. I'm like, well, that's not exactly unbelievable, is it? He's basically done the bare minimum of his job, is he not? The one thing I do like about Kiefer Moore is that you're right. He is bringing into play, and the players he's got around him is second to none. His hold-up play is brilliant. But he's got 2 goals against Huddersfield, and I'm just not sure whether I'm not convinced he's any higher than a Championship level player. And I know he plays for Wales and he starts for them and he does well for them. But I think there's been a lot of talk around how good of a signing Kiefer Moore is. And yeah, it does suit Cardiff. But I'm not sure that player suits. I'm not sure that player is a player who's going to get. I think he's hit his peak, basically. I don't think he's going to get much better. And I think Cardiff probably, if they're going to want to hit that top 6. I mean, the reason they got promoted a few years ago was because of Neil Warnock. And although I think Neil Harris has done a very good job there, I think we could agree the last few years, the Cardiff squad isn't packed with quality. It's got some decent, reliable players, but it's not packed with quality. So I think they're going to get results like that. And it's a good win. But if I was a Cardiff fan, I wouldn't be I won't be getting carried away because I'm not convinced you're going to finish any higher than 10th this season. In honesty, anyway, we'll get on to the next game. There was quite a lot of goals in some of the midweek fixtures, maybe on Tuesday rather than Wednesday. But on Tuesday night, Preston love scoring goals away from home. They scored 4 past Brentford. They've scored 3 against Bournemouth, winning by 3-2. What are your thoughts on this game, Regan? What do you think comes out of it? Is it Preston's really big attacking threat, or is it showing that Bournemouth do have some frailties at the back?
Well, I think Scott Sinclair may have scored the goal of the season. I think that's what for that game. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a bit of both what you said, because, like you said, we've seen it not many times, but we've seen it quite a few times this season. That just the attacking prowess that Preston bring to football games. And then we've seen quite a few times as well this season Bournemouth's instability at the back. We had questions going into it at the beginning of the season because they lost Aaron Ramsdale, they lost Nathan Ake, two big defensive presences for them in the Premier League. So there was a lot of questions raised around them, and really looking at this result and others in the league so far doesn't fill you with a lot of confidence, because you can score as many as you want, but if you can't keep them out, you're always at risk from losing games and dropping points.
Yeah, and I think with Preston, I'm not sure if it was you or Barnes who mentioned it, but I think we all unanimously agreed in the predictions before the season started. We said we like Preston. They've got a load of good players. They're a good team, but their problem is they haven't got an out-and-out striker. And although they're scoring a lot of goals now, do you still think that's their problem, that they're having to have the games where they're scoring all these goals? A lot of the time, it's coming from different players, and they're having to rely on the whole team being completely at the top of their game to win games at the moment. And they're not having a player, maybe like a Brentford with an Ivan Toney or a Blackburn with an Adam Armstrong, who can just score goals and pull them out of games that they're maybe not necessarily to win. Would you agree that's probably their problem?
I suppose it's a good thing and a bad thing for them. It's a good thing because they don't have to solely rely on one player, which can be really good for them and can be really bad, because, like you said, you can work as a team and you can together get a lot of goals. And you don't have to rely on one player having a good day or a bad day. But it's always nice to have that option where if another player that's key to your attack is not having the best of days, you can always rely on a solid number 9 to grab you some goals, and they don't have that. So it kind of works both ways.
Yeah, and the last game we're going to move on to is from the midweek games is Wycombe-Stoke. Now, it wasn't a classic, Stoke winning by 1-0, but it was a significant game with fans back in grounds. There was a couple. Luton was another game which had it. I saw the celebrations of their goals against Norwich, and it's just although obviously it's not exactly limbs, is it? But there's just a roar of there being a sound when a goal goes in is just it's something brilliant. And I mean, yeah, Wycombe losing by 1-0 to Stoke. Stoke getting back on it. I mean, the reason I want to bring up Stoke is because despite this game being relatively boring, a routine win, 1-0 away from home against Wycombe. We know what Wycombe are like. We know that game probably was just Stoke trying to break them down for a long time in Wycombe and then finally doing it. That chasing pack of the playoffs, or maybe the top, well, I'd say top 10 at the moment. There is 4 points from Middlesbrough in 10th to Norwich on top. Now, I think we sort of said before the season started, we don't think there's many outstanding candidates in the Championship this season. Do you think that's being proved to be the case? And is there any way you could possibly guess who that top 2 is going to be now? Is there still teams that you think, despite the lack of point difference, look much stronger than others? Or do you think that this could go any way at the moment?
I feel like it is too early to call which way it is going to go, because it's the month of December now. This is the crucial month where you usually see the table start to take shape, and you see those top tier teams really pull away from the pack in the congested fixture. But looking around the league, I mean, there's some teams that are, like you said, they're in that I can see them make a push up. They're like, I mean, I hate to say it, but Brentford will probably get closer. Well, get closer. They're only 2 points off it, but I could see them come Christmas with the quality they have. They could definitely be in the top 2. You see teams like Stoke, if they get these results out, which they have been known for, they can make their move up there. If Neil Warnock gets his Borough side back on track, which he actually did this week, and he puts a consistency in, they can make up there. You look further down, maybe maybe this Cardiff run isn't a purple patch, and they can get these results in. You see, even teams like, I don't know, the way that we've seen Huddersfield play sometimes, you just don't know because it's the Championship. But this is the crucial period now where you'll see teams drop off that don't have that quality and can't extend that run throughout the busy Christmas period, and you'll see teams that will make a claim to say, like, yeah, this is going to be our division this year.
And I'm going to push you for something here. I want to review it once we get to the end of the very busy December schedule, as you said. You see that top 10 there. You're more than welcome to say someone outside of it as well. Who at the end of this Christmas period, I think is a solid, must be at least about 6 or 7 games. I think you have in this December period. Come to January. If we were to review this on maybe January 3rd, after those early January games are played, who do you think is going to be in the top 2? Who do you think's got the best capability to deal with that period? Who do you think's the best teams? And ultimately, who's going to go on to be in the title race?
I'm actually going to back the two teams I predicted at the beginning of the season. I'm going to back Watford and Brentford to be in there January, just because Norwich's injury concerns. I feel like now's is definitely not a good time to have a lot of injury concerns. And I think Bournemouth are just a bit too inconsistent. I can see Reading, Bristol City and Swansea drop off. So I could see maybe even Stoke be up there. But I'm going to back my earlier season predictions and be Watford and Brentford.
You know what? I'm not too sure. I think I'm going to go. I'm going to probably go Watford and Bournemouth would be my top 2. In honesty, I'm getting 2014-15 flashbacks when they were in the top 2 and Brentford were in the playoffs. I just think Brentford have got a few injuries as well, and although they're winning games a lot at the moment, with not playing well, which is a good sign. I can't see the good performances coming around the corner either, which is, I mean, surely it's going to catch up with you at some point. But yeah, I agree with your Watford shout. You see, Watford are third, and they've not exactly set the world alight this season, getting another 0-0 draw in the week. But I think Watford have just got such a steady foundation at the moment, and they're just they're a reliable team at the moment. I'd say like they're not going to blow teams away all the time. But I think they're gonna very rarely lose this season. I know they've already got 2 losses this season, but I think that's not going to go up by many. I can see them being a team that very much and in this Christmas period, it's all about just picking up points when you can. If you can't win a game, get the point and get out of there. It's all about keeping momentum, and when you lose that momentum. I think that's why Watford are definitely going to be in that top 2 come the end of the Christmas period. Anyway, Regan, that's a prediction for a month's time that we'll review. But we've got to review the midweek games. Now, I said I love games under the lights. I could feel the prediction little ticker ticking up, and I could feel myself racing into the lead. Was that the case?
Well, I messaged you halfway through the Tuesday's games, and I said, you know what, this could be the worst week of predictions we've ever had, because some of the scorelines about 75 minutes into the Tuesday games were absolutely nowhere near what we predicted. But fair play to both of us. We pulled out the bag. In the last 2 weeks, it was like 4-3 and 4-4. This week is 7-6. I mean, to me, because, well, thank you to Colin Kazim Richards, my guy, Veracruz back there. You can't see it, but and Coventry, and also my insane logic once again. The Sheffield Wednesday and Reading are just too crap to beat each other.
I need to get on board with this logic, because I agree with you, but I'm just like, nah, someone will edge it. No, when two boring teams clash, it ends in a draw. I should have known.
It's like the thing we said like a month ago. Shit ass plus shit house, or shit ass times shit house is shit.
Yeah,
so
exactly. You lose the house, and you're left with shit. Yeah.
So that overall, it's 68-64, and the lead is back to 4, which is like for the first time in about 4 weeks.
It's not nice, is it? It's not what you want to hear, but I'm convinced I will pick it up. We've got a busy December schedule now, Regan. You never know. I could be topped by Christmas, as people like to say. A nice little. I'll be there sipping my Baileys on Christmas morning, knowing I'm top of the prediction table, baby. Anyway, Regan, there is a full fixture list of games to start this weekend, as always, on Friday Night Football, we are delighted to have the treat that is Barnsley versus Bournemouth at Oakwell. Kick us off. Who do you think is going to come out the better?
I mean, Barnsley didn't really have much of a challenge, did they, against Karanka? I mean, they did in the long scheme of things, but on paper, you wouldn't have think that they would have had to wait for the last minute to score against Birmingham, but they did. But like I said, the busy December schedule, I think better teams will show their class. And even though they're kind of in a bit of a rut, I'm going to back Bournemouth.
Tough one, this, actually. Tough one, definitely. I'm going to go for a draw. I mean, apart from, I don't know, I rate Barnsley at Oakwell. I just think, I don't know, there's always something in my head that is a little switch. And Bournemouth have conceded quite a few goals recently to poor opposition in Rotherham and Preston. Well, not maybe poor's a bit harsh on Preston, but not exactly top opposition. And I think Barnsley's relentless style can give them a couple of issues. So I'm going to go for a draw as well. I can see this being like another 2-2 on Bournemouth's behalf. The early Saturday kickoff, they always seem to have it at the Medeski. It's Reading, Nottingham Forest. This is a bit of a stinker, this game, is not?
It is, yeah. I am going to say Reading on this, mainly because Nottingham Forest have not scored in about 4 or 5 games, and Reading have been scoring quite freely, especially in that game against Bristol City. So I'm going to say Reading.
I agree with your logic. Forest aren't scoring many, and Reading are scoring a few. Even if Reading let in one, I've actually get more than one themselves. So, I will go Reading on that one too. Fans are back in grounds at the Brentford Community Stadium. They'll be in there for the first time ever. It's Brentford versus Blackburn. It is the 2 top goal scorers in the Championship up against each other. It is what I would say, despite playing the likes of Norwich, Stoke, Swansea, after a good little run, it's probably Brentford's biggest test of where they're going to be this season at the moment. And they have Blackburn Rovers at home. What are you thinking? Who's going to come out on top? Is it Ivan Toney or is it Adam Armstrong?
Both teams are, I think, 2 of the most informed teams at the moment, based on the current 5 or 6 games, just on unbeaten records. I mean, you've both won the last 3. So
they're unbeaten in 8, I believe.
I think Blackburn are unbeaten in 6 or something like that. They're both very good. They both won the last 3. So it's just a matter of who is going to be better. And this is really difficult because Blackburn is still a bit down there on the table. But Brentford aren't back to their best yet. Oh, this is a hard one. I really like Harvey Elliott to score against the Brent. I imagine the first goal with Brentford Community Stadium with fans in is a former Fulham player. That would be great, wouldn't it? I can't decide. So logic, draw.
I'm gonna go for Blackburn on this one. See, now it's not. Don't worry, I'm not like getting all pessimistic about Brentford. I just still think the best is yet to come. We have won a few games in a row. I know we're unbeaten in 8, but the last couple of performances really haven't convinced me. And although we've won and I'm buzzing with it, I am a bit worried. And frankly, is very prone to rotation at the moment. And the team he started against Rotherham is a team I'd like to see start most of the time. And with the logic that it started against Rotherham, I don't think it will start against Blackburn. I'm not convinced we'll see Marcus Forss start again, which will annoy me. And I'm convinced Mark Hondes may start midfield. And this isn't a knock on Brentford. I just think it's Blackburn are a really big threat. And I worry that we like, I don't know, this season, like our defence has been good in the last 8 games. But I've just had flashbacks to the likes of the Preston game and stuff. And I just think there's times when we've taken our foot off the gas, teams have scored and punished us. And if you take your foot off the gas with the form Adam Armstrong's in, he is bound to score in this game. I'm thinking it's going to be a very close game, but I think Blackburn might nick it. Just out of worry, I'm going to go for Blackburn in that one. Bristol City, Birmingham at Ashton Gate.
Bristol City. Birmingham are possibly the worst team in the league right now. And there's no pressure on the manager. Why? Why? He's awful.
Angrily sent me his post-match press conference. And everyone seems to be slagging off the players at Birmingham. And it'll be interesting, any Burn fans let us know why that is, because we are not a fan of Aitor Karanka at the moment and the job he is doing. I'm going to join you on Bristol City for obvious reasons. Coventry, Rotherham.
I'm going to say Coventry because they put in quite a few decent results and they controlled the game, I like to say, against Derby. And I think they were quite unlucky to come away with a draw, even though they were behind to start off with. So I'm going to back Coventry.
I'm going to join you on Coventry just because I saw Rotherham in midweek and I was not impressed at all. Their idea of being good defensively is just chopping you down whenever they've got the chance. They weren't good at all. I'm going to go for Coventry. Huddersfield, QPR, two teams who play very open. This could be a high-scoring one, but every time I say that, it ends up 0-0. So,
I am going to say Huddersfield just because I don't have faith in QPR right now.
Ooh, it's a tough one for me. I'm going to go Huddersfield too. Just because, QPR seem to be on a little on their patches where they go off the rails a little. Warburton seemed to have completely lost his head against Brentford. I mean, they went 1-0 up against Bristol City and then just didn't defend that lead at all whatsoever. And against a team like Huddersfield, who are likely to press you high and QPR who like to play out from the back, I think Huddersfield just edged that one. Millwall and Derby is the next game. Wayne Rooney still looking for his first win in charge.
Oh, this is just two teams that can't really get a win. I feel like this is the type of game where I see like a Jed Wallace penalty 1-0 or something like that. But I think Wayne Rooney's starting to get his men together. I mean, they're all right draws against Coventry and Wycombe. And if you're getting draws in this league, you'll probably come against Millwall, if any team. So, yeah, draw.
I'm going to back a Millwall win, just because I think that this is the last sort of game that Derby really needed right now against a team that are physical and experienced. And although are struggling at the moment, they'll just exploit the weaknesses in Derby's team, I feel, and I worry for Derby seeing as they travel to us on Wednesday night as well. But I'm going to go for a Millwall win. I just think that Gary Rowett will know what to do against that Derby team. He'll just know. Norwich, Sheffield Wednesday's next one. Sheffield Wednesday picked up a point in the week under Tony Pulis, maybe starting to find something. And Norwich losing in the week as well with all those injuries. Maybe not as blatant as a call as it would have been maybe a couple of weeks ago.
I saw on Norwich's Twitter page that I think quite a lot of players are coming back. I think they've got Pookie back. I know Buendia's back. I think Cantwell may be back, or at least he's back in training. And I think Tim Krul may be back as well. So that's 3 massive players for them. Yeah, okay. I'm going to say that those 3 will come in, and even though Sheffield Wednesday are getting good draws and good results, I think Norwich are just better than them. So I'm going to say Norwich.
I'm going to go for a draw on this one. Like I said, I think Norwich, despite still going to win the league. Don't worry. Just remember, I said they'll have a little poor patch now. Lost to Luton, looked terrible at the back, and I don't think you can afford to look that bad at the back with a Tony Pulis side who was just going to lump every single ball into the box that they possibly can. It's got Callum Patterson or someone along those lines written all over it to head home. I'm going to go for a draw in this game. I'm going to go for a Norwich Sheffield Wednesday draw. Preston Wycombe.
This just has a Preston win written all over it because Wycombe will sit back and let them attack. But we've seen it. I mean, we literally talked about it earlier on that the attacking prowess Preston brings. I don't think Wycombe should sit back because no matter how much they sit back, I think Preston are going to punish them either way. So I'm going to say Preston.
I think if Preston I'm going to go for Preston too because I think if they've got any chance to now suddenly build some momentum, you've got December and you've just won a game away at Bournemouth, brilliant win. Now you've got Wycombe at home, get this win, and they can start looking up the table rather than down. So I'm going to go for Preston as well. Stoke Middlesbrough. Now that sounds like a grim northern game, but it is a game near towards the top of the championship, so it has some significance. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know what it is about me saying that this spectacle of Stoke scoring a lot of goals because I think they've only scored like 1 in their last 2 games or something like that. And and you were right about Neil Warnock not letting his side let off against Swansea, even though you did predict a 0-0 draw. So he did better than what we both expected. I can just see this being a really cagey affair. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1 or a 0-0. So either way, it's a draw.
I'm struggling with this one. And like I said, when I'm struggling, I should go for the draw. I should do the sensible thing like you did. But I'm a man who takes risks in life. I'm a thrill seeker. And I'm predicting a Middlesbrough win at the Bet365, the old Britannia Stadium. Neil, if there's anyone who's up for the test of Stoke away, it's Neil Warnock, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to go for Middlesbrough. Just fancy them. I don't know. I'm sort of taking a liking to Middlesbrough, which I don't like, but I'm taking a liking to them. Swansea Luton is the penultimate game of the weekend at the Liberty Stadium.
I'm going to back Swansea because I think Luton's, even though they weren't great against Norwich, just because Norwich were literally stripped down against them, and then you got battered by Cardiff the weekend before. So I like Swansea, and I think this is one of those teams where they could make their presence known towards the top of the table come New Year's. So I'm going to back Swansea.
I think Swansea as well. Luton did very well midweek against another team who Swansea and Norwich are similar styles, aren't they? But I just think Swansea is another one of those ones where I don't see Swansea going through loads of bad patches. Like, you know how I said Neil Warnock, I think he'll bring them back. Swansea have obviously lost to Middlesbrough, and I think they'll want the home patch. They'll want to right that wrong, as I said last week. And I think Swansea. Let's be honest, they're just a better team than Luton. I think they'll be fine for this one. And finally, the last game of the Saturday fixtures. There's no Sunday ones. Is Watford versus Cardiff. We've both just bigged up Watford. We've said, do Cardiff have the minerals to get in the top 6? Is it a Watford win for you then, as your theory would suggest?
No. Just because I think that when Neil Harris has his job on the line, which is what he apparently does at the moment, I feel like he'll just deliver those results that keeps him in the job, because that's just what he does. I mean, he didn't do that at Millwall at all because he got thumped 4-0 by Fulham. But I'm going to fancy him in this game. I don't know what it is. It may just be because Forest and Watford drawing doesn't feel a lot of confidence because, I mean, Forest haven't been good at all and Watford can't even score past that. So I'm going to back a Neil Harris win.
This gives me a chance to pick up points. I'm going Watford. Like I said, lack of consistency in results to get into the top 6, in my opinion. And I think Cardiff will smash a lot of the smaller sides that are not as good. But when they come up against these teams, which is the teams you've got to beat to see if you can get into the top 6, don't think they'll do it. Watford have drawn quite a few games recently. They'll want to go one better. They're looking solid at the back at the moment. I don't think they'll concede 3 goals to Cardiff like Huddersfield did and 4 like Luton did. So I'm going to go for a Watford win, and I'm very confident with that, and I'm hoping that is a little extra point I've got up on you there. You've gone for the risk. And that is the Championship predictions over for this week. We'll be back again in midweek. They're coming quickly, as they always do in the December time. We're looking forward to a little Christmas period. Hopefully Brentford will be top of the table by the end of it. No, Regan seems to disagree.
I didn't say that.
Right. You gave me a look. Anyway, that is the predictions done, and that is this episode of Champ Talk done. We'll be back, as I said, in midweek. I'm sure you'll all be looking at our predictions over the weekend and thinking, wow, these two know nothing. I'm never coming back to this channel. But anyway, if you did enjoy, remember to like the video, subscribe to the From the Terrace Podcast YouTube channel, leave us a rating on iTunes, even go and have a little browse on SoundCloud. And we'll see you in the next Champ Talk.